We're less than a week away from the 2019 general elections, and Nigerians have never been more divided with regards to who they want to choose as a president in 2019. We have a plethora of candidates, I think 72 at the last count, but with so many choices, there still seems to be not that many choices for Nigerians to make. For the first time in our history, we'll be having voters in this country who have never lived under military rule. Nigeria will be celebrating 20 years of democracy this year, which means we'll have first-time voters who turned 18 2 years ago. This program is focused on young Nigerians for the most part, and we're going to try and help you guys today hopefully decide in some way who you would like to vote for in 6 days. Good evening, Nigeria. Welcome to the Youth Debates brought to you by Rubbin Minds. My name is Ebuka Obi Uchendu. What we have here today is going to be very simple and straightforward. We have a couple of speakers representing two of our major candidates. I know we have a plethora of candidates, but we did a poll and decided, based on what you guys polled, that these two candidates are the preferred candidates, and their supporters and surrogates are here today to try and tell you why you should vote for their candidate. So for Team Atiku and Team PMB, those are the two main candidates for the PDP and the APC, and we'll have four of their surrogates here today who would help us decide, or help you decide on who you would like to vote for come February the 16th. The rules are very simple. We're going to have, like I said, 4 speakers per team facing off with each other. And for each speaker, they would have 3 minutes to speak, 2 minutes of rebuttal from the opposing side, and then 1 minute of a closing. And then the other speaker takes over, after which we move on to another topic. We have several topics we're going to be covering, and I will take you along as we go with each segment. Without much further ado, I'd like to welcome our very first speakers, ladies and gentlemen, representing Team PMB. He's a policy advisor for the Next Level Roadmap. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ikem Isiekwena. And for Team Atiku, the PDP Director of Operations and Strategy, Demola Rewaju. Thank you very much. Once again, please, you are not allowed to applaud or boo at any point unless I tell you to. Thank you very much to the audience. Good evening, Demola. Good evening, Ikem. We just want to start off using the toss of a coin. And I don't know who wants to go heads or tail. Okay, so tail. Head. So you want to go first?
Yes, I think I would go first.
Okay, so based on that part, the next speaker for Team Atiku will then go first, and we'll take it that way. You know what I mean? From the next speakers. So it's very simple. Our very first speaker, Demola Rewaju, your job here is very simple. Sell to us the idea of a better Nigeria for 3 minutes. Ikem will rebut for 2 minutes, and then you close for 1 minute. Then we go to Ikem to sell the roadmap for the next level, and then you rebut for 2 minutes, and then he closes for 1 minute. Demola, your time starts now.
Good evening, studio guests. Good evening, viewers at home. Good evening again, Ebuka. Good evening, my co-debater. 4 years ago, I stood here standing beside Ikem Isiekwena, and we debated on the way forward for Nigeria. I remember saying at that time that the promises which APC was bringing at that time were phantasmagorical. And today, that has been confirmed. 4 years after that, we are standing here. Ikem Isiekwena at that time was a Lagos lawyer. And, well, one of the points he made at that time was that their government was going to come in on jobs, jobs, jobs. If you watch the video on YouTube, you see it said jobs, jobs, jobs. The 3 of them who came at that time now have moved up. They've got jobs, jobs, jobs. But the majority of Nigerians do not have jobs, jobs, jobs. 21 million. That is the number of Nigerians who are presently unemployed. Never before in the history of our country have we had such a huge number. And to put it in perspective, that number is more than the population of Tunisia, more than the population of Belgium, more than the population of Netherlands, more than the population of Portugal. Those are the numbers under this present government. And so when they talk about wanting to be re-elected, we challenge that and show you a better option. That rather than continue to follow the path of those who promised change and then changed the promise, Why not go with a better Nigeria? Better does not have any other alternative. If it is better, it is better. What we saw was a negative change. What they are promising is a next level that can also be negative. But we speak today to a better Nigeria. What is the Atiku plan? The Atiku plan is anchored on 3 key issues: unity, security, prosperity. And he doesn't position as a messiah. He doesn't say that he has all the solutions. He says to you and I as young people here in the studio and at home, he says, let's get Nigeria working again. Let us do it together. He recognizes the fact that there was a time when this country worked. There was a time when things moved in this country far better than it is now. And that is why we are here today to preach the message of better Nigeria to Nigerians here and also at home. What we have under this current government is an aberration. What we have is a government of impunity that breaches the rule of law at will. We've seen the recent instance, which is the instance of Justice Onoge. And I would be most obliged, if the opposing team would be able to put it on record, their own stance, because I understand that they are lawyers and they are part of the team Oshibajo. And, I would want them to put it in perspective that if we are talking about the next level of impunity, are we talking about the next level of the breaking of the rule of law? The next level of that is clear to all Nigerians. And so, as an advocate of better Nigeria, I am saying that on the issues of unity, security, and prosperity, that we can do better than going to the next level. Thank you.
Ikem, what's the next level roadmap?
Okay, so thank you, and good afternoon, Nigerians. Thank you, Ebuka, and the producers of Rubbin Mind for having us here. And thank you, Demola. I do recall 4 years ago when we came here to express what our vision for this country is, and I still stand by those words. And I'm here to express a view that dissects and shows Nigerians that there are 2 clear sides to our future. So in rebuttal to what Demola has just said, 21 million people lose jobs. It's a pure lie, as simple as that. It's a lie. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics does not collate absolute numbers of those who are unemployed. So I don't know where you pick up figures from, and it's the essential character of these parties' campaign. Propagate false news, propagate lies, as though, when you say it repeatedly and enough, it somehow becomes truth. It's absolutely a lie. And just to put it in perspective, at the last quarter, there are more jobs gained from absolute numbers. Over 500,000 more jobs were gained, and over 4 years, more jobs have been created than we have lost jobs. But the problem with the country is the fact that we have a high birth rate, and many people are getting onto the job market, and those numbers who are graduating from tertiary institutions and secondary schools are far more than the opportunities that the economy has created. So I just want to put that by the side, and I just want us to interrogate what this Atiku plan is. Unlike us, we have a roadmap that is identified as a party roadmap. We have a manifesto that we came out to say 4 years ago, hold us to account for these things that we will do. We said we will do Empower. We said we will give direct jobs to young people. And you can check in every local government in this country, 500,000 young people are employed. We're talking about specifics. There are differences between us and them. And what I want us to get right is that this so-called Atiku plan is one man's plan. It is not a party plan. And they can turn around and say, no, we did not say this as a party. We have put forward a party plan. It is not a Buhari plan. It is not an Oshibajo plan. It is an APC plan. But what we have in this document is a phantom and a fake document that at best is a pass-off, and at worst is just a fraud on Nigerians. There are no specifics that say how you're going to get 50 million people out of poverty. Rather, we have shown in 3.5 years how 13 million Nigerians have been directly affected by our social investment policy. We have shown how we have taken this cankerworm called corruption, tackled it headlong, and we have addressed it. Just 4 years ago, just to remind you, put this in perspective, precisely on February 25th of 2015.
Thank you very much, Ikem. Your time is up. Thank you very much. Demola, I don't know if anything jumped at you from what he said.
In December 2014, Muhammadu Buhari, then general, after he won the APC primaries in Lagos State, Teslim Balogun Stadium, he stood up and promised Nigerians restructuring. He tied himself to restructuring. Eventually, he got into power. The man said he doesn't understand what restructuring is. Our candidate is promising restructuring as a way to bring back the unity of this country, the security of this country, and to lead us back into prosperity. He came doubted the statistics about 21 million Nigerians in poverty. In the second quarter of 2015, 6 million people were unemployed. 6 million people were unemployed in second quarter of 2015, according to Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, third quarter of 2018, Nigerians are out there, they can fact check it. 21 million people unemployed in Nigeria. 23.3% is the number of those who are underemployed, and the total number of unemployed and underemployed is about 43.1% in the country. But this is what APC does. They pull down institutions just for the sake of politics. For you to stand here and doubt the facts that are backed by Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, I mean, they castigated the man. An aide to the president came up and said that, the facts the man was throwing about were not correct. For the purpose of politics, I think, when we quote facts, we should always stick to the facts. And he said that the Atiku plan is the plan of one man. No, it is not. The reason why as a matter of fact, someone from our team here, Mohammed Bello, was part of the drafting of that policy. He was part of those who drafted that policy, a young person, and he represented us adequately. The reason why it is called the Atiku plan is because our candidate understands the importance of attaching himself and his personal integrity and credibility to the document he's presenting to Nigerians for Nigerians to enter into an electoral covenant with. Their candidate did not do that. As a matter of fact, unprecedentedly since 1914, the first act of President Muhammadu Buhari in office was to deny the electoral covenant that brought him into office with Nigerians. And so our candidate is not doing that. He is tying himself strongly to that plan and calling it the Atiku plan. It doesn't mean that nobody has an input into it as he thinks, but Nigerians understand. Talking about fake documents, I'm sure they would understand that, because the manifesto they uploaded on the website of the APC, as published by many of their members on Twitter and even on Facebook, apc.com.ng, that manifesto, Nigerians know it. If they check online, it was riddled with, it was something they just downloaded from somewhere and copied. But we are saying to Nigerians, next level can be anything. The next level of a thing can be worse. But when you say better Nigeria, that means we do not want it to be what it is. Next level represents the most backward trend in this country, and we are saying to Nigerians, if you want things to get better, it will get better with the PDP. We are promising jobs, and not the kind of jobs that they are talking about, giving handouts, which Nigerians will remember. If you go on YouTube, you watch it. 4 years ago, I said that what they would do was tokenism. I'm sure Ikem will remember. I said they will be doing tokenism. In fact, I gesticulated this way, that they will be doing tokenism, and that is what they are doing now. As a matter of fact, a professor of law who has lectured in law for so long,
Thank you very
he had
much,
an opportunity to be on this program.
Thank you very much, Demola. Well, you did hear him there, and he's made a few points, and you seem to be laughing, especially at the parts where he was quoting National Bureau of Statistics. I don't know if you have a point about that.
Okay, so I have my time to explain our manifesto now, but before I go ahead, I just want to say very quickly that Demola here confuses unemployment rate with the number of unemployed people. I don't know if he can be schooled as to the differences, that the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics never publishes the number of people who are unemployed. And you can check that, and Nigerians can fact check it. But this is not about that. Just to get into a diatribe with you, this is about Nigeria. In about 6 days' time, we are going to the polls. In 6 days, the character of this nation will be on the ballot. The character of you and I will be on the ballot. Who are we as a people? What do we represent? What are our values? What are the things that drive us as Nigerians? Is it patriotism, or is it just what we've seen and known all our lives, where people who come onto leadership positions use those positions and abuse the office for personal gain? Now that's the crux. You see, the problem of Nigeria is not complicated. It's very simple. It's the fact that the people who have held on to the resources of this country for 16 years have repeatedly pillaged, pilfered, and stolen from this country. 4 years ago, we stood here together, and we know very well now, after the fact, that on February the 25th, after the elections were deferred and postponed, some guys went into the Central Bank of Nigeria, took out 289 million US dollars,
well,
and they shared it.
Court conviction.
They shared it.
Conviction.
Now these are court papers. They just shared the money, and such that months after, there was not a single dollar to get out of the Central Bank of Nigeria. That's the extent of what we are saying. $289 million is over 100 billion naira. Preceding that, 100 billion naira was taken out of the treasury again, shared for purposes of election. Now you can contrast it, the character of the nation, the character of the leaders. We don't have that madness of people running about because it's election season, using government resources to campaign and to propagate, what is a failed policy. Now you have to put this in perspective and ask how these sums of money could have been spent. And you can compare and contrast and say, what is the character? What is the unblemished record of two sides? There's an unblemished record of 16 years where Nigeria earned a total of almost 1 trillion US dollars, particularly between 2010.
Thank you very much, Ikem. Thank you very much, Ikem. So I want to go into specifics now, because I know a lot of people are watching this show and they need answers to a lot of questions. I just want to talk specifics on jobs, because I think that's one of the biggest things on people's minds. Job creation. What is the Atiku plan?
The plan is simple. I would have wanted to start from where he ended, but let me continue.
You have a minute, so if you can do whatever you want to do with it.
All right. Now, we are here to present the plan, the Better Nigeria plan, and also to interrogate and expose the deceit behind the Next Level Nigeria plan. The team here with Team Atiku, we are going to explain to you about, we are going to talk to you about Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, men who have done. When Atiku Abubakar speaks, he speaks about his record in Adamawa State as one of the largest employers in that state. When Peter Obi speaks, he speaks as a former governor of Anambra State who transformed that state into a model state in Nigeria. Unfortunately, when they would be speaking, they would be talking about what they plan or what they hope to do, because they have nothing to talk about in terms of performance. Now, it is important to understand that the idea of Buharinomics is what he is throwing about. I mean, the fact that anybody in this day and age can believe that they took all the dollars from the central bank and there was not a single dollar, I mean, that is absurd. But these are the kind of things that we hear with the Buhari plan.
Demola, thank you very much.
Okay, so I'll go straight. Jobs.
Very quickly.
Now, we promised we're going to do direct jobs and the training program. We fulfilled that promise. Now, there's some fellow called Dapil Ahmed in Plateau State. He's one of 500,000 people who are today engaged teaching in public primary schools, doing agricultural extension advisory services, and also serving in the public health sector. Now, as direct as it is what the administration has done. This is said and done. In addition to that, our plan says we are going to extend the Empower program to 1 million Nigerians, because we have a bunch of people who are coming out of schools and they have absolutely no hope, no jobs. And this is what the administration did at the time to sort of stem the tide of despair and despondence. Now, in addition to that, there's a plan that looks at what the Industrial Training Fund will be to retool it and ensure that 10 million Nigerians are retrained under an internship program.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But how many have they done? How many have they done? You are talking about what you will do. You've been in office for the past 4 years.
I just told you what we did.
You are talking about expanding. As a matter of fact, Ebuka, the Empower people who were employed in 2016 were supposed to be disengaged about 2 months ago, and they protested. These people, and I'm happy because they are here, because they work very closely with Oshibajo directly, who is in charge of the Empower. And they extended it without a Senate appropriation concerning how they will be paid, but because they wanted to keep those people on for elections. You see, those jobs are tokenism. Nigerians understand that if you had a certain amount of money in 2015, when the PDP handed over, the value of that has reduced presently by more than 11%, because that is the rate of inflation presently under their government. Inflation under the APC government went to a 12-year high of about 18%. He wouldn't tell you those numbers because he knows that, but rather what they would do, as I said 4 years ago, is to plug figures from the air that cannot be verified. We can base this entire debate on the issue of credibility. He talks so much about character.
Thank you very much.
And I ask Nigerians to Google presently.
So, just to put this in the right context, the N-Power program is a direct intervention program. You may call it tokenism, but you can ask Nigerians.
Not jobs.
You can, please don't interrupt me.
Jobs.
I did not interrupt you. Please. And you can ask Nigerians who are in those local governments and those children who are being taught by these N-Power graduates whether it is tokenism. Now, you can also ask all the individuals that are in technology hubs, 6 of them around the country, whether what we are doing in those technology hubs amounts to tokenism. Or you can ask, indeed, the small businesses all around, 319 of them that have a direct beneficiaries of our MSME program. Now, what we are saying is this, is that simple. The PDP has impoverished Nigerians, impoverished them for 16 years, and we are taking the necessary steps to correct those wrongs.
I want to ask you a different question now, almost related as well, but the Atiku campaign almost seems to sometimes want to distance itself from the PMB sort of mantra of 16 years must be the judgment, the basis for judgment. Is it right to detach Atiku from the PDP with regards to achievements?
Well, I think there is no way you can just you can detach Atiku from the PDP as a top member and a founding member of the party at that time. As a matter of fact, the highest GDP growth rate witnessed in this country was in the first term of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and His Excellency former Vice President Atiku at that time, 41% GDP growth from between 1999 to 2003, under the government that is campaigning for re-election. In other words, when Atiku was campaigning for re-election as the Vice President, he was campaigning on the basis of 41% GDP growth. They are campaigning on the basis of what? 2% GDP growth witnessed since 2015 till date. It is ironic that the APC, a party that glorifies poverty, a party that...
You say 41 or 4.1?
41% GDP growth recorded. Yes. When Google it. 41, people will Google. People will, and I was about making that point earlier on that Nigerians should go on Google and Google how many Nigerians are unemployed. Because, you know, he wants to make it look like rocket science. But when you say 43.3% people are unemployed and underemployed,
all right, Demola,
you know the number.
Thank you very much.
I was going to talk about...
Sorry, I need to go to him now. A lot of these statistics are very important because there's a lot of things thrown at Nigerians with regards to the present government. But the statistics don't lie.
Yes.
There's statistics everywhere. The poverty index says it. The unemployment rate says it. But the government continues to say otherwise. Why should we believe you instead of what we see?
Okay, first, just to clarify, it was a 2.35% GDP growth as of when Muhammadu Buhari became president in 2015. So get your figures
99
right.
to 2003.
Now I want to let me make the point. So what we have is someone comes into your home, plunders it for 16 years, pilfers from you, and comes out 3.5 years. A repairman comes, is fixing it, and he says essentially to you, you are poor, you are poor. It's cynical at best. You know, and what we have is that if you look at the poverty rate, as of 2004, we had 63 million people who were extremely poor. Now, PDP grew that number to 112 million. Now, what they say that is 87 million and Nigeria is the poverty capital, it's a reduction on account of government's direct effort. We are reducing the mess they've created. That's essentially what it is. Let me give you another number to jump at you. PDP grew the out-of-school children from 10.5 million.
We need to wrap this up very quickly. So you both have just 1 minute each to wrap up your points, please. Very quickly.
I'll use my 1 minute to talk about the issue of 16 years of PDP, and I think we should lay this to rest once and for all. Nigerians should remember that Nigeria did not start in 1999. Nigeria started, as you can take it as far back as 1960, you can take it as far back as 1914. You can take it as far back as whenever you like, but do not start the history of Nigeria from 1999. Nigeria is where it is today as a sum total of our past, a past which General Muhammadu Buhari was a part of. In 1979, in 1983, December 31, 1983, General Muhammadu Buhari ended democracy and started 16 years of military that has led to the greatest outburst of impunity in this country presently from 1983, and that did not end until 1999 when the PDP took over. It is that military mentality that still exists in this present government, and that is why they continue to breach the rule of law with impunity. And that brings us to the issue of Chief Justice Onogen. 2 weeks ago, His Excellency the Vice President was supposed to be here, but I understand that he was not here. A professor at law, we expected him to come to Nigerians and lecture us on the legality of
Thank you very much,
and I hope that the legal minds who are here will be able to explain to us on the issue of the rule of law.
Yes, sorry. Just to clarify, I'm still a lawyer in Lagos, just to make that point clear. And just to say to you and to Nigerians that thank you for admitting your unblemished record, that you are indeed part of the problem. The PDP is part and parcel of digging us into the hole we find ourselves. And there's absolutely no way we can not examine and look at the unblemished record of corruption, thieving, and pilfering that this party is known for. Absolutely. For those young Nigerians who are voting for the first time, please tell me when you've known a Nigeria that worked for you in their 16 years. Which education has worked for you? Where are the roads? Where are the bridges? Where are the rail? Where is the infrastructure? Where is the world-class economy that you can be proud of and you want to go back to? Please, let us come with our hearts open. What this mind needs is restructured hearts of Nigerians who want to attain leadership positions. And I'm saying it clearly. Character
Thank you very much,
is on the ballot.
Thank you very much,
on the ballot.
I like that you mentioned the economy there, because we're going to take a break now. When we come back, our next set of speakers will be talking on security, healthcare, and the economy. Please join us.